Emeka and Ngozi lived in a small cozy house on the outskirts of Lagos. They had been married for 6 years and had 2 lovely children, Chidi and Ada. Emeka worked as a sales representative for a local company, while Ngozi was a nurse at a nearby hospital. Despite their modest incomes, Emeka and Ngozi managed to make ends meet. Emeka believed that Ngozi's salary as a nurse was not much, so he took it upon himself to shoulder most of the financial responsibilities of their household. He paid the bills, bought groceries, and took care of their children's needs without complaint. He believed in being a supportive husband, even if it meant sacrificing some of his own desires. One evening, as Emeka was lounging on the couch in the living room, he overheard Ngozi talking to a friend on the phone. She mentioned something about a bonus she received at work, but Emeka didn't think much of it at the time. He trusted Ngozi completely and never doubted her honesty. However, a seed of curiosity has been planted in Emeka's mind. He couldn't help but wonder about Ngozi's finances. He knew she was a hard-working woman, dedicated to her job and their family, but he couldn't shake off the feeling that there might be more to her salary than she let on. The following day, Emeka had to use Ngozi's laptop to send an urgent email. As he opened the laptop, he noticed that Ngozi's email was still logged in. He hesitated for a moment, feeling guilty about invading her privacy, but his curiosity got the better of him. As Emeka scrolled through Ngozi's emails, he stumbled upon one with the subject line, January payslip. His heart skipped a beat and he clicked on it, unsure of what he would find. As he scanned through the document, his eyes widened in disbelief. Ngozi's salary was listed as $74,734, a far cry from the $9,500 she had claimed to earn. Emeka felt a mixture of shock, confusion, and betrayal washed over him. How could Ngozi hide such a significant portion of her income from him? And what was she doing with all that money? Emeka's mind raced with questions as he tried to make sense of the revelation. He felt a sense of unease settle in the pit of his stomach as he realized that he didn't know his wife as well as he thought he did. Was there something Ngozi wasn't telling him? And if so, what else was she keeping hidden? As Emeka closed the laptop, he couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal that lingered in the air. He loved Ngozi with all his heart, but he couldn't ignore the fact that she had kept such a significant secret from him. Deep down, he knew that their relationship would never be the same again. Emeka sat alone in the dimly lit living room, his mind consumed by a whirlwind of emotions. The revelation he had stumbled upon had shaken him to his core, leaving him grappling with the feelings of hurt, betrayal, and disbelief. He never imagined that he would resort to such measures, but desperation had driven him to invade Ngozi's privacy in search of the truth. All my life, I've held the view that it wasn't right for anyone to go through their partner's phone, Emeka mused, his voice barely above a whisper. But that night, it was the only way to find out what I was looking for. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, Emeka began his clandestine investigation. Starting with Ngozi's closest confidants, he sifted through her messages with her best friend, hoping to find a clue that would shed light on her hidden secrets. But to his dismay, he found nothing of significance, just mundane conversations and trivial gossip. Undeterred, Emeka turned his attention to the family WhatsApp group, scrolling through the messages in search of any hints or clues. And then, like a bolt from the blue, he stumbled upon a conversation that would change everything. As he read through the chat between Ngozi and her father, Emeka's heart sank with each passing word. His worst fears were confirmed as he pieced together the puzzle of Ngozi's secret life. My wife had bought a piece of land and now started building. Emeka muttered to himself, his voice tinged with disbelief. Her father was in charge of the project. He had sent photos of the various stages of this building. Emeka's mind reeled as he tried to make sense of the revelation. He had always believed that he and Ngozi were a team, sharing both the joys and burdens of life together. But now, he couldn't help but feel like he had been living a lie. She has only one brother, a senior brother, Emeka continued, his voice growing more strained with each word. And yet, she bought him a car to use for Uber. Every week, her brother rendered an account and they split the money. The pieces of the puzzle fell into places, painting a picture of Ngozi's secret life that Emeka had never imagined. She had been living a double life, portraying herself as a struggling nurse while secretly amassing wealth and providing for her family behind his back. Why would she do that? Emeka wondered aloud, his voice tinged with a sense of betrayal. I thought I was being a supportive husband so my wife could be proud of the man she married. But now, the foundation of their marriage had been shaken to its core, leaving Emeka grappling with feelings of mistrust and resentment. He couldn't help but wonder if anything he thought he knew about Ngozi was nothing more than a facade, a carefully constructed illusion designed to deceive him. As he sat alone in the darkness, Emeka knew that he had a difficult decision ahead of him. The truth had been laid bare, and he could no longer ignore the reality of his situation. But deep down, he knew that he couldn't turn a blind eye to Ngozi's deception. Not if he wanted to salvage what was left of their shattered marriage. The next morning dawned with a heaviness that hung in the air, palpable and suffocating. Emeka's heart simmered with a tempest of emotions, his mind swirling with unanswered questions and unspoken grievances. He knew that a reckoning was imminent, but he waited patiently for the right moment to confront Ngozi about her deceit. As the morning sunlight filtered through the curtains, Emeka watched as Ngozi moved about the kitchen, her movement tentative and cautious. He could see the concern etched on her face, a silent acknowledgement of the tension that lingered between them. Summoning the courage to address the elephant in the house, Emeka took a deep breath and approached Ngozi, his voice steady despite the storm raging within him. So, babe, why would you do that to me? He asked, his voice heavy with accusation. Ngozi turned to face him, her eyes wide with shock and confusion. What have I done, Obim? She replied, her voice trembling with uncertainty. Emeka's frustration boiled over as he recounted the revelation of the previous night, his words dripping with bitterness and betrayal. Don't Obim me today, please. You bought land. You never told me. You started building on it. You never told me. When were you going to tell me? Ngozi stood frozen, her eyes darting back and forth as she struggled to find an explanation. Who told you all that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Emeka's gaze hardened as he met her stare head on. Your father did, he replied, his tone laced with accusation. Silence hung heavy in the air as Ngozi processed Emeka's words, her mind racing with the implications of his revelation. She knew that she had been caught in a web of lies, and there was no escaping the truth now. Desperate for answers, Ngozi reached for her phone and dialed her father's number, her hands trembling with apprehension. She handed the phone to Emeka, the screen illuminated with her father's name flashing in bold letters. My father wants to speak to you, she said softly, her voice barely audible over the pounding of her heart. Emeka accepted the phone with a sense of trepidation, his heart pounding in his chest, and prepared to face the wrath of Ngozi's father. As he pressed the phone to his ears, he could hear the anger and the frustration in the older man's voice. His words sharp and accusatory. "You said I told my daughter has a building. Where did I say that and when?" Ngozi's father demanded, his voice booming through the speaker. Emeka felt a surge of anger rise within him, and he listened to Ngozi's father deny any knowledge of the building project. He knew that he had to stand his ground no matter the consequences. "Is it not true that my wife has a building project going on that you are supervising?" Emeka countered, his voice unwavering despite the trembling in his hands. Ngozi's father insisted for a moment before responding, his voice faltering with uncertainty. I told you that," he repeated, his tone tinged with disbelief. Emeka's frustration reached a boiling point as he confronted Ngozi's father with evidence of deceit. "I read your messages last night. I saw the pictures. I read the various budgets you had sent to my wife. I read the confirmation of the money receipt that you sent her," he exclaimed, his voice rising with each word. Ngozi's father's protest fell on deaf ears as Emeka refused to back down, his resolve unwavering in the face of adversity. He knew that he had been betrayed, and he would not rest until he had uncovered the truth. As the conversation drew to a close, Emeka was left with a sense of clarity and determination. He knew that he could no longer turn a blind eye to Ngozi's deception, and he was prepared to face whatever consequences lay ahead. For better or for worse, the truth had been revealed, and there was no going back. As the echo of the phone call with Ngozi's father faded into the silence of the room, Emeka felt a heavy weight settle in the pit of his stomach. He could sense the tension in the air, thick and suffocating, as Ngozi stood before him, her eyes wide with disbelief and uncertainty. In a voice laced with bitterness and resentment, Emeka recounted every detail of Ngozi's deceit, his words cutting through the silence like a knife. He spared no detail, laying bare the extent of her betrayal and the depth of his hurt. "Yet, even your sanitary pad, I buy them," Emeka declared, his voice tinged with anger. "You think I'm a fool? You use money to acquire your own properties and live on mine because you are my wife? Okay, they play." Ngozi stood motionless, her eyes downcast, as the weight of Emeka's words washed over her. She knew that she had made a grave mistake, one that has shattered the trust and love that had once bound them together. As the gravity of the situation sank in, Emeka felt a sense of resolve settled over him. Trust had been lost, love had been broken, and there was no going back. They would have to find a new way of living their lives, one that didn't hinge on deceit and betrayal. In the days that followed, Emeka found himself grappling with a whirlwind of emotions: anger, hurt, and a profound sense of loss. He withdrew into himself, seeking solace in the solitude of his thoughts as he tried to make sense of the shattered pieces of his marriage. Meanwhile, Ngozi's father reached out to Emeka, his voice heavy with remorse and regret. He apologized profusely for his daughter's actions, taking up the blame so that Emeka wouldn't have to bear the burden alone. But Emeka was in no mood for forgiveness. The wounds ran deep, and he needed time to heal. Time to clear his mind and come to terms with the betrayal that had rocked his world. 3 days later, Ngozi's family arrived at their doorstep, their faces edged with concern and regret. They came to apologize, to plead for forgiveness, to salvage the beautiful marriage that had been torn asunder by deceit and betrayal. But Emeka's heart remained hardened, his resolve unyielding. He listened to their pleas with a sense of detachment, his mind already made up. He needed time to come to terms with the reality of his situation, time to rebuild the shattered pieces of his life. As days turned into weeks, Emeka watched as Ngozi transformed before his eyes. She no longer asked for money, no longer relied on him to shoulder the burden of their household expenses. She had learned a lesson, he realized, a lesson paid for in tears and heartache. But Emeka remained unmoved. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, and he knew that forgiveness would not come easily. He had learned a valuable lesson through Ngozi's actions, a lesson about the importance of looking out for himself and his family above all else. When Ngozi offered to change the names of the properties he had acquired with her secret wealth, Emeka refused. "You suffered for them," he told her, his voice tinged with bitterness. "You can decide what you want to do with them. That will not be my problem." But Emeka wasn't done yet. He had made up his mind to reclaim what was rightfully his. The land he had bought with his hard-earned money, the car he had purchased with a loan from Ngozi. He had given her 2 months to pay up, or he would sell the car and take back what was his. As Ngozi pleaded with him to reconsider, Emeka remained steadfast in his resolve. He was not going to let her action go unpunished, not when they had cost him so much. And so, Emeka found himself at a crossroad. He had weathered the storm of betrayal, but the scars remained, a constant reminder of the pain and heartache that had torn their marriage apart. As he looked towards the future, Emeka knew that the road ahead would be long and arduous, but he was determined to forge ahead, to rebuild his life from the ashes of betrayal, and to emerge stronger and wiser than before. For in the end, he knew that each one must look out for himself, and that sometimes love was not enough to heal the wounds of betrayal. The rift between Emeka and Ngozi grew wider, fueled by resentment, mistrust, and unspoken grievances. Ngozi, burdened by the weight of her secrets and the guilt of her deception, struggled to find a way to bridge the chasm that had formed between them. Unbeknownst to Emeka, Ngozi had lost her job due to issues within her company. Afraid to admit her failure to her husband, she had resorted to using her savings to maintain the facade of normalcy, pretending that all was well even as their marriage teetered on the brink of collapse. Emeka, meanwhile, had noticed a change in Ngozi's demeanor, a subtle shift in her mood and behavior that had hinted at the turmoil raging beneath the surface. But he remained unmoved, his heart hardened by the pain of betrayal and the sting of broken trust. Desperate to salvage their crumbling marriage, Ngozi turned to their family pastor for help, seeking his guidance and intervention in the hopes of convincing Emeka to forgive her. She knew that she had made mistakes, but she was willing to do whatever it took to make things right, even if it meant laying bare her failures to the whole world to see. But when Emeka learned of Ngozi's plea to their pastor, his anger flared anew. How dare she bring their private affairs into the public sphere? How dare she seek forgiveness without acknowledging the depth of her deceit? In a fit of rage, Emeka stormed out of their home, seeking solace in the dimly lit confines of a nearby bar. As he nursed his wounds with a drink in hand, Emeka's thoughts churned with bitterness and resentment. He couldn't understand how Ngozi could betray him so callously, how she could deceive him with such ease, and yet beneath his anger lay a seed of doubt, a nagging feeling that perhaps he had been too harsh, too unforgiving in his judgment. It was then that fate intervened in the form of a man named Femi, a popular wrestling champion whose presence in the bar seemed to command attention. Emeka watched with curiosity as Femi disappeared into the back kitchen, only to return moments later with a sense of purpose in his stride. Intrigued by Femi's actions, Emeka struck up a conversation with him, eager to learn the secrets behind his success. And as Femi shared his story of how he and his wife managed restaurant and bar together, pooling their resources and working as a team, Emeka felt a spark of recognition ignite within him. Both he and Ada, Femi the African tiger explained, were truly on top of their game when it came to family finance. They understood the importance of communication, trust, and cooperation in building a strong foundation for their marriage. Lessons that Emeka had long forgotten in the wake of Ngozi's betrayal. As Emeka listened to Femi's words of wisdom, he felt a wave of realization wash over him. He had been so consumed by his bitterness, so blinded by his anger, that he had failed to see the bigger picture, that their marriage was worth fighting for, that forgiveness was the key to healing the wounds that had torn them apart. With a newfound sense of clarity, Emeka made his way back home, his heart heavy with regret for the pain he had caused. He knew that he had to make things right with Ngozi, to lay down his pride and ego in the pursuit of reconciliation. And as he stepped through the threshold of their home, Emeka made a silent vow to himself to be a better husband, a better partner, and a better man. For he knew that their journey was far from over. But as long as they faced the challenges together, they would emerge stronger and more united than ever before. When Emeka arrived home, he called out, "Babe, babe, babe," a name it had been several weeks ago he called her. Ngozi greeted him with open arms, her face radiant with joy and relief to hear Emeka call her babe again. Tears of happiness welled in her eyes as she embraced him tightly, grateful for the chance to start anew. Emeka too felt a weight lift off his shoulders as he held Ngozi in his arms, the tension and animosity of the past months melting away in the warmth of their embrace. In that moment, he knew that he had made the right decision to forgive, to reconcile, and to rebuild their marriage from the ground up. With a sense of renewed determination, Emeka and Ngozi set about making necessary changes to move forward. They reached out to Ngozi's father, sharing the good news of their reconciliation and requesting his assistance in changing the property names to include both Emeka and Ngozi's names. Ngozi's father, overjoyed by the news, readily agreed to their request, eager to see his daughter and son-in-law rebuild their lives together. With his guidance and support, the legalities were swiftly taken care of, and soon the properties bore the names of both Emeka and Ngozi, a symbol of their unity and commitment to each other. But their journey towards reconciliation didn't end there. Recognizing the importance of communication and cooperating in building a strong foundation for their marriage, Emeka and Ngozi established a weekly tradition, a dedicated day where they would come together to discuss family finances and plan for their future. With each meeting, they delve deeper into the intricacies of budgeting, saving, and investing, pulling their resources together and working as a team to grow their wealth and secure their future. Gone were the days of secrecy and deception. In their place stood transparency, trust, and a shared sense of purpose. And as the weeks turned into months, Emeka and Ngozi's efforts bore fruit. Ngozi secured a better paying job, her talents and skills recognized and rewarded in equal measures. With her newfound income, the family's fortune began to soar, opening up new opportunities for growth and prosperity. But more than just financial success, Emeka and Ngozi discovered something far more valuable: a renewed sense of love, trust, and companionship that bound them together in ways they had never imagined possible. Through the trials and tribulations of their journey, they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. As they looked towards the future, Emeka and Ngozi knew that their journey was far from over. They would face challenges and obstacles along the way, but as long as they faced them together, they were confident that they could overcome anything that life threw their way. And so, with hearts full of hope and gratitude, Emeka and Ngozi embarked on the next chapter of their lives, a chapter filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Here are the lessons from this story. Communication is key. Emeka and Ngozi's story underscores the importance of open and honest communication in a relationship. Secrets and deception can erode trust and lead to resentment, while transparency and honesty lay the foundation for a strong and lasting bond. Forgiveness is powerful. Emeka's journey towards forgiveness teaches us that holding onto grudges and resentment only serves to weigh us down. Forgiveness is not only a gift we give to others, but also a gift we give to ourselves, allowing us to let go of the past and embrace the future with open arms. Financial planning is essential. The importance of financial planning and management cannot be overstated. Emeka and Ngozi's decision to prioritize discussions about family finances highlights the importance of setting goals, budgeting wisely, and working together as a team to achieve financial stability and security. Hence, the weekly family meeting on finance. Unity in marriage. Emeka and Ngozi's journey towards reconciliation serves as a powerful reminder of the strength and resilience of love. Despite the trials and tribulations they faced, they emerged stronger and more united than ever before, proving that with love, trust, and commitment, anything is possible.